The 22nd International AIDS Conference took place in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, from 23rd until 27th of July 2018. It is the largest conference on global health issues in the world. Let's listen to some bullet points made by several speakers during the opening section.
What we have learned is we succeed when we put people at the heart of our strategies. When we focus on the reality of the children born with the virus, when we respect the young woman at risk due to the behavior of her partner, when we try to understand the perspective of the man who lacks access to information and testing, when we harness the huge potential of people living with HIV to help guide the delivery of services and the campaign against stigma.
Talking about it, that was my greatest fear. That people would talk about it behind my back if I ever share my secret. Because still today, people talk about this disease in a way that it is not fair. There's a lot of stigmatization that comes with HIV, and I believe that's the case because too many people know too little about this disease. I'm just one single person amongst many affected. But then again, I'm aware that I'm not, because when I first posted my story, it was shared across the globe. I received nothing but support, and still I would like to underline that I do not define myself through my HIV status. It is just a fraction of who I am.
What we need is we must include young women in the design, and young women and adolescent girls in the design and rollout of new prevention efforts. And at the same time, also make sure that we include young men and boys.
I hope we use our positions, our privilege, and our influence to fight injustice. I hope we learn from the lessons of our history and use them to change the course of our future. Because this movement that we're all called to be a part of is even bigger than the 30-plus year fight to end AIDS.
Some players from Switzerland participated at the conference. These are what they have to say.
Okay, one of the main lessons learned in this conference would be for Switzerland to better understand the dynamic of the HIV epidemic among the migration population. A French study has just shown that most migrants from sub-Saharan Africa got infected after migrating to France and after establishing in France. That's after 6 years living in France. So for Switzerland, it would be important to better understand and invest more in prevention action among the migrant population if we have the same situation.
A very important population for the HIV prevention is the migrant population. Because often they don't talk about sex, they are not used to talk about sex with each other, and so it's very important that we start talking about sexuality with the migrant people, and to look that everyone knows his HIV status.
First of all, we still have to reach the people. We realize that we are not reaching all the needed people, and we still have to do a lot of work by reducing stigma and discrimination. And I think, and we were thinking, that we had to start with this also by ourselves and to look where we are really not doing things right to reduce stigma and discrimination.
The most important, I think, is once again I see that we in Switzerland, we are so privileged if we compare with the issues the other countries have to face. And yes, we have to be grateful for our possibilities we have in Switzerland, but even that means that we even should try to improve our work and go on.
Like almost all the past international AIDS conference, this year was not different, with activists taking to the streets to demand for equal justice, zero decriminalization of those living with HIV and AIDS, and of course, easy access to treatment, care, and support. The protest was led by Her Royal Majesty, Queen Mazima of the Netherlands. During the conference, some of the participants expressed their views and opinions ranging from the right of LGBT, discrimination, treatment adhesion, danger of quitting treatment, and of course, the latest scientific research developments.
It is very important to know the HIV status because in a lot of sub-Saharan countries, especially in West Africa, even some part of Eastern Africa, you have people who believe a lot in superstition. We have come to realize, we know that HIV is first a biomedical infection. And because it's a biomedical infection, people know to know the HIV status for so many reasons. One, to prevent spread of infection. Two, for their own safety. Three, to be able to reduce the spread of HIV within the community where they live. So it is very bizarre for people to sit and think that you can know your status just by looking at somebody in the face. So it is important to go. You can have yourself tested. You can walk into a facility and get tested. And right now in Africa, the PEPFAR program is doing a lot. The Global Fund program is doing a lot, giving people access for treatment and testing all over sub-Saharan Africa.
One of the very important subjects at this conference was the subject of You is You. I realized that as a HIV counselor, it's very important that now we have this information about the results of the partner study. In the partner study, which we have done in the last 8 years, we find out that more than 100 unprotected anal and vaginal contacts between serodiscordant couples, that nobody of the HIV negative partners has been infected. So for that, it's very important that we can tell this now as a professional to our patients, so that people can have in their relationship, it's easier for them to have unprotected sex, that they can enjoy it much more, and we try to support our patients in this way.
The vast majority of people living with HIV are located in low and middle income countries, with an estimated 25.5 million people living in sub-Saharan Africa. Among this group, 19.4 million are living in East and Southern Africa, which saw 44% of new HIV infection globally in 2016. The World Health Organization African region remained the most severely affected, with nearly 1 in every 25 adults living with HIV and accounting for nearly 2/3 of the people living with HIV worldwide.
Please help us. People live with HIV and AIDS in South Africa. We want to go back to school. We want to be productive in our country.
We're here to demonstrate the power of the mobile phone to unlock healthcare and healthcare services to mainly the underdeveloped world. We rooted the story in Africa, but it's actually relevant to the global population.
With over half of people living with HIV in the world being women, it's very important that we as women are visible.